Town highway, and 100 feet away from me lies the burned-out remains of another check.
And now I can do anything I want until I'm 30 years old.
Commentary that he wrote was nothing more than the literary
with what you say, and because I disagree with what you say,
laughingly referring to themselves as the 41st Combat.
It's only supposed to support 7 times. The common denominators here are drugs, violence, and death.
My name is Brian Karem.
With a real Brian Karem, please stand up.
When a reporter asks the President of the United States a question, you sometimes get an answer, you sometimes get the runaround, you sometimes get stiffed completely, but that's it. Unless your name is Brian Karem. A week ago, Brian Karem, a 31-year-old San Antonio, Texas television reporter, asked President Bush a question, and he got fired. We thought it might be in everyone's interest to find out why.
I feel no remorse for asking a blunt, pointed question. I think that that's the best type of question to ask.
So did Brian Karem deserve his fate? Pushy he certainly is. But remember Harry Truman's advice to would-be presidents. If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Normally, you don't fire the cook.
Well, my first guest tonight has other firsts on his resume, including being the first American journalist to go to jail for protecting a confidential source. He has also worked for America's Most Wanted television show. He has been nominated for a couple of Emmy Awards, and now he is the model for the lead character on a new NBC television show. So here's the real guy, Brian Karem.
The important thing in this country, and the important thing to remember in regards to free speech, is that it is imperative for a democracy to work well that we are allowed to voice our opinions. Now, I may disagree with what you say, but will defend to death your right to say it. That has been the guiding principle of this country. It should now not be, I disagree with what you say, and because I disagree with what you say, we're in the middle of a war, I shall kill you. You know, when I was coming up, to be a reporter, you aspired to be Edward R. Murrow.
Yeah.
Now reporters aspire to be Regis Philbin. This newsroom, I have to say, is the most appropriate newsroom I've ever seen. You've got the news director's office right next to the bathroom. I maintain the biggest mistake that we've ever made in the last 20 years in this country was when we had the chance to go into Baghdad, we should have. I'd compare him to Dan Quayle. I would say that George W. Bush is everything the Republicans have ever said and the Democrats have ever said about Dan Quayle. I mean, you're looking at a couple of different issues. First of all, in Bill Maher's case, now, I've said for years I think he's a moron, but he's always been allowed to say what he wants to say. But nonetheless, I agree with you. I believe he was treated unfairly. He has a right to say what he wants to say. And by the way, hey, his ratings have never been, what, better? Personally, I find it appalling, but only so because...
You find what appalling?
I find not the drunk driving arrest, and not that he is a recovering alcoholic. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is now I can extend my youth to the age of 30. I've got a blank check, and now I can do anything I want until I'm 30 years old, and it happened in my youth. But what I find interesting about the first 100 days of the George Bush administration is so far, when we talk about him, we're talking about adult-like, and we're surprised that he's actually done it. I feel uncomfortable when anyone tells me to be an American, I have to wave the flag, or I have to praise their idea of God. There are many different ideas of who we are in this country, and I worship the way I want, you worship the way that you want. I wave my flag in my manner, you wave a flag in your manner. What do you think? What I've come to find in my travels is that people seem to think of the devil, if you will, or evil, as something that you see all the time on someone's face, you know, horns, red face. What I've found is that anybody has the potential for it, and it shows itself in flashes. And then the real evil person will be as normal as you and I on any one given moment, and then evil for a flash and then turn back into the normal person. Most people I've found that are in jail for violent crimes, there is a single common denominator in all of them: lack of parenting, and usually the father.
Do you think we did that effectively?
I think that guys like you went off on your own and found MASH units and did a very good job of reporting the real story.
In today's day and age in Washington, D.C., nobody really cares who you're sleeping with anymore. I mean, I think Clinton proved that. You're not going to impeach the guy for it. He knew that going into it. He knew the political climate in Washington, D.C. He's a part of it. He did not come forward. He was not honest. And bottom line, this man is a bad guy.
Last word, Brian.
I don't think he's dignified. I don't think he's presidential. I think he's anonymous. I think he acquiesces to those who really wield the power in the Republican Party. And I think we've seen really the essence of George Bush, which is he's milquetoast.
Okay, I think we've seen the essence of Ann Coulter and Brian Karem, too. No secrets here. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.